Hello, welcome to Prime Lenses. I'm Ian. This week, my guest is Nicklas Pettersson. He is a Danish photographer who has shot a lot in conflict zones, most recently in Ukraine, shooting with a Leica Q and a wide lux. And that's how I found him. There I was on Reddit looking for wide lux people as I prepare and work on my wide lux episode that I'm putting together, so you want to subscribe so you don't miss that in future. But I'm working on this wide lux episode and suddenly I see these amazing wide lux photos and they're taken on the front line in Ukraine, and I thought, wow, who's that madman carrying a film camera around? But not only a film camera, a clockwork film camera that's barely made anymore. Lucky for me, Nicklas was game and we set up a conversation when he was back from one of his recent trips. We cover wide lux, the Leica Q, shooting in dangerous places, and just a little bit of video games. If you like Fallout, this is for you. I hope you enjoy this chat with Nicklas. It's a real pleasure. It's a treat to talk to you. Is it your first podcast?
Yeah, it is.
Hooray! It's wonderful to see you and speak to you. I'm very excited to get to sit down and talk to you because you tick a few boxes. I love to speak to working photographers who are going and doing interesting work in unusual places, and you're the second photographer I've spoken to recently who's traveling routinely to conflict areas. Mm-hmm. And I think your work in Ukraine is so interesting and such beautiful work as well. So I'm really keen to talk to you about that. And then also there's a little bit of a film element, which I find fascinating, that you're in these places and you're like, oh, hang on, I'll just load some film.
Yeah, it's really not easy to use film in those places, but sometimes it's the better choice because it makes the soldiers and the medics and stuff more comfortable with me being there, because they think, oh, you have this expensive digital camera you can send directly to social media or to the enemy, right, or whatever. But
which is a thing to think about. But before we get stuck into that, I am interested to know how your journey starts with photography, and then we'll get to, I think, why you're now making the work that you want to work, because you could make any kind of work, and I think choosing what you've chosen is really interesting. But tell me first of all how you started making pictures in the first place.
It was when I was very young. My mother has a picture of me with like a camera when I was 4 years old or something, and I think my parents have always been taking pictures, and my grandfather had always had a camera at every like family thing we did, and I was always just intrigued by what is this, and I remember early remembering that, okay, it's gonna be fun being older and looking back on my grandfather's stuff he did, because it's family, it's right now, it's present, and so yeah, I've always taken pictures. I remember I always had like a disposable camera with me everywhere I went when I was young, and I don't really remember seeing any of the pictures because they were probably not that good. But my mom says that she has it in the basement. She has every picture I've taken. Um, and then I started early when I was 11 or 12. I started skateboarding, and then it just became natural because, and that was actually how it started, the whole documentary photography thing, just taking pictures of me and my friends just skating and having a good time. And then it became more skate/partying, and I still just took pictures of everything, and yeah, and then it just took on. I was not really good at school, so I was just always dreaming about what can I do instead of being in school. So yeah, that's how it started with me from very young. Just always been interested in pictures, and yeah.
Were your family it sounds like they were supportive of it? Because some people I speak to, their folks weren't necessarily thrilled when they said, I want to take on a creative career.
Yeah, I think my mom, she has more of a little bit of the hippie approach to life. She's very much, everything's gonna be okay and good, and I'm sure you will make it, my son. I'm proud of you. And my dad is a little more, I think he would love that if I'd taken a education and done something good, making a lot of money and stuff. But yeah, especially now with the whole what I do now, it's difficult to find the support from people who don't really understand the necessity of going those places. But I think for most parts they're still pretty supportive. But it's always, I mean, it's the creative path is, I mean, it can go both ways. You know, it can be
Mm.
really successful if you do it right, but you can also be miserable and very poor. So yeah, it's hard to navigate in, and I understand how why they were critics in the beginning.
Well, there's also the difference, I think, between what you do every day and then what people assume you do when you say you're a photographer. You know, the reality is there's a lot of admin.
For sure, yeah, yeah. Um, but yeah, I love it, and that's the important thing, being glad for what you do. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's
yeah,
like being a podcaster, right? Like people assume I sit down and just spend all of my time talking to people, and actually, there's a lot of sending emails and a lot of putting things in calendars and then moving them around.
I could imagine. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, my job is basically being my own project manager, which is good because that's what I used to do. So I guess I've landed in the right place in a funny way. There
that's
we go.
that's perfect.
Perfect. So you mentioned a little bit of it there, the places that you go and choosing to go to the places you go. And when I was looking at your work and preparing for this and looking through the website, you talked about the responsibility of going back to these places to document, especially, your Senegal project and Nepal and Italy and things. To some extent, some of the work you're showing is kind of the work that you expect a photographer to make, right? Like they're traveling, you're seeing ping. It seems very much to me like there's a connection with people that's really important to you that matters. But then I think additionally to that, it seems like you now feel a responsibility to keep documenting what's happening in Ukraine and to come away and go back. Mattia Bidley was on the show recently. He's an
Mhm.
Italian photographer who's been to Ukraine and he's been to Gaza and things. And there was a lot of similarity in the way you were writing about it and talking about it, I think, in the way he does. So I'm interested in how did that come about? And then when did you know this needs to be work that I must continue to do until this conflict resolves?
Um, so the whole thing, my first like bigger thing where I really jumped out of my comfort zone and just did what I thought would be interesting and yeah, it was my documentary in Senegal where it was actually from my then girlfriend at the time. It was her birthday, and I was out eating at a restaurant with her father, and her father said, "Oh, I know this guy named City," and he talked a bit about this Senegalese Danish guy who moved to Denmark 43 years ago or something, and he was like, "Yeah, now he's retired in Denmark, and he decided to go back to his hometown and become a mayor." I was like, "That's amazing. That's a crazy story." He's like, "Yeah, yeah, he's leaving tomorrow." I was like, "Okay, okay, I'm gonna do this." And so I just texted him, and I bought the tickets before he even agreed to do it because I was like, "If he must say yes, it's so interesting." So I didn't know him. I hadn't spoken to him or anything. So then I packed my stuff, and the next day I went to the airport and flew to Gambia. And it was actually first when I landed in Gambia that he was like, "Oh yeah, sounds interesting. When are you coming?" I was like, "I actually just arrived in Gambia. Do you think there's something?" He's like, "Yeah, for sure. I'm coming picking you up." And yeah, so then I stayed with him for a month and documenting his first period of being a mayor because he won with so many more votes than the his opponent. And yeah, it was really an amazing story. And that was the first time I felt, okay, this is really what drives me doing these stories. And people live lives. Even I live here, but there's so many people just living lives out there in different environments. And yeah, so that was the first thing I did was covering that, doing that documentary in about city in Senegal. And it was really an amazing thing because I didn't plan anything. I was just following him around. And but yeah, it was also the first time I really saw um how bad things can be because of lack of education. And I think that's the interesting thing about City, because he lived in Denmark, and he kept saying, "Oh, I want to make small Denmark in Senegal."
Right.
And but we still saw the voodoo doctors trying to, to cure people with mental illnesses and stuff. And so yeah, it was really interesting.
Yeah, wow. I mean, it complete culture shock for you as well to just land in it. But I'm guessing that the lack of you can't overthink it, which might be a good thing.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's just I don't know what's gonna happen. Let's see. And it's kind of sometimes the same approach I do in Ukraine,
Right.
because you never know what's gonna happen. I mean,
Yeah. So how do you work out when you're going? Are you asked to go out by like news organizations or NGOs?
in Ukraine, I'm part of an organization in Denmark that delivers medicine and cars to front line units, and so I we buy the cars in Denmark, and then I drive from Copenhagen all the way to the front lines, and because we go that way, I mean, we give something back, and
Mm.
there's a huge discussion about photographers and photojournalists if that's the way to do, because you're not really supposed to help in that kind of way if you want to call yourself a photojournalist. But yeah, that's how I do it, and then I get pictures and stories, interviews, whatever, and then I go back to Denmark and do fundraising so we can keep the flow
Right.
coming. But yeah, sometimes it's CNN called me once and was like, "Oh, we're going to Donbass for I think it was 8 days or something. Are you available?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, we can go." Yeah.
It must be an increasingly small pool of people who've got that kind of experience as well. I'm guessing where like if you need people who can operate because it's not just a field trip.
No, no. It's really, and especially the last year and a half, 2 years, I guess, would be the drones have really changed the game for everyone,
Mm.
and especially photographers and journalists going around, because we don't really, we're not able to shoot down drones or anything, so we just really cross our fingers and just hope for the best. We try to do the best we can with the drone detectors and stuff, but you never know what's gonna happen. It can really go and really quick. Your life can be over.
That conflict in Gaza, the kind of the mindless way that it just seems to continue. Like I
Hmm.
from the outside looking in, and I think in the UK, our feeling towards Ukraine is sort of somewhat different in that we have notionally this body of water between us and mainland Europe. I think it's a lot more
Yeah,
real for people living in mainland Europe. It is a lot closer to you than it is to us, even though
yeah,
we're not that much further away. It's a lot more real, isn't it?
yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah, and that's why it takes me 2 days, maybe
Mm.
3 days of many hours of driving, but then I can be in Isium. I can be at the
Yeah.
front line. 3 days. I think it's really crazy. It's a war in Europe, and it's so close to Denmark, and people just kind of lost interest, even though I think yeah, it's really amazing and still needs to be covered because the stories are so brutal and honest still.
I think for anyone listening, it's worth going and looking at the images because the way that you've captured most of your work's black and white. It
Yeah,
seems, especially in that area, but that means that the few color images you do have really do show. There's one of either a sunrise or a sunset over the city with a Ukrainian flag, and you look at it and you're like
yeah,
that kind of image embodied for me the peace that we all hope will eventually arrive, right? Like that's an
exactly.
optimistic image. But did you choose black and white because you seem to shoot a lot in black and white. So, but I'm curious whether it's also a thematic choice as well.
Yeah, for sure. It's for me, this war in Ukraine, it really is black and white,
Mm.
and I just felt it's working. I mean, for me, it expressed the feeling I have when I'm there, because everything is a little cold and dark. So I just feel it's black and white really works for me, covering this war. And sometimes you end up in a situation where I have a lot of pictures that I'm not published, from injured or dead soldiers and stuff. And if there's color, it just takes away the whole idea of the picture, because all you see is the blood. I have a
Right.
picture of a foot that's completely
Yeah.
blown to pieces by a butterfly mine. And if you saw that picture in color, it would be disgusting, and it wouldn't really tell anything. Here it's more, going really sharp with the 28 zoom looks and the light heads. It's really crisp. It's really amazing, and you can see the picture differently if than if it was red by blood. And yeah, and it just, I think it works. The black and white idea, it just works when you go to war zones. And
It's interesting that you mentioned the Q there as well, because it seems to be very commonly seen in, like, when I see other war photographers, and like as a second camera, as a, it's a fairly durable, for all that Leica are sometimes seen as like a luxury camera brand or whatever. Those Qs are fairly solid. They're weather sealed. And that lens is magic.
yeah, it's amazing. It's an amazing lens, really. I don't think it gets much better for me. The Leica Q3, it's the perfect camera for me for what I do.
Yeah. And so you always shot with Leicas.
No, no, no. Sadly not. No, it's really been a progress. I've saved up for a long, long time because my heroes in photography, they used Leicas. So I was like, okay, I need to have this, but damn, it's so expensive. It's like 6 trips to Ukraine for one camera, but then
Mm.
I ended up being able to get the camera, and it really hasn't disappointed at all. It's amazing camera.
Yeah. I shoot with an M, and I was using the SL3P last week. Actually, I had one on loan just before it
Hmm.
came out, and it's excellent, and I don't like it at all.
Yeah,
Right, it's just too big for me. And I imagine for you,
yeah,
size is a big consideration as well. When you're like, you need
yeah,
performance, and you need,
yeah,
but the Q seems like a perfect fit for that sort of stuff. Then,
exactly. Yeah, it's very compact and it's weather sealed, I would say. I mean, it survived. It's been through a lot of mud and rain
yeah,
and heavy sun and stuff, but it still works perfectly. Even though it's a really expensive camera, it's not really something I feel
mm.
needs to be protected at all. It really just works, and it's crazy.
Yeah. I An early guest of the show was Torsten Overgaard, who obviously is a big Leica guy
Yeah.
and fellow brilliant Dane. Um, And I think that's the thing with these things, is that, like, they are expensive. But what's funny is we're seeing I mean, the price of everything in 2026 is insane. And it's starting to make these things handmade in Germany, starting to make them look quite reasonable in a funny way. Like a
Hmm.
Q3 with that lens on it suddenly seems like good value, really.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and durable to boot. So you're shooting with a Q3. Tell me about your film use as well, and what you're kind of rocking with as well. Because is the Q your only digital camera when you're out?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. And then I have I don't remember, but I have like the DJI Action Cam
sure.
GoPro thing, and yeah, exactly. But I don't count that because it's all really just more behind the scenes for me. But yeah, it's the only digital. I used to my first, I think, 7 or 8 trips. I used the Sony camera,
Hmm.
a Sony A7 IV or something. I don't remember, but it really like came to me how I had no attachment to the photos I took with the Sony
Huh.
because it was so easy, it was so bland, and it was so, it has had that 24 to 70 something really big, and I was like, this just doesn't work for me going around with this, and it's so much a camera, a modern day camera, and it just
Mm.
doesn't work if you want to get closer to the soldiers and stuff. They would kind of get scared of,
Right.
you come here with this. So I was just, yeah, I got the Q3 and I was like, oh, this is perfect. And then I used the Olympus Mu 2,
Hmm. Hmm.
also a film, a small point and shoot,
Yeah.
really amazing camera too for what it is. And yeah, the last 6 or 7 months I've been using the White Lux F7.
Yeah, which I love that you're taking a clockwork camera to a war zone.
Yeah, it's already been really expensive in repairs because every time you go home, it gets so filled with the dust. If you
Mm.
take pictures in an area where there's been a bump or something,
Right.
all the dust and everything just get into the camera so quick. So it's like, it's so buggy now. I just spent 400 euros getting it fixed, and now
Wow.
I have to get it fixed again. And yeah, it's really, but it's more of the idea of taking those kind of pictures there because it's not easy to get to the front lines.
Mm.
So why should it really be easy to get the pictures? You know,
Oh, that's
it's
interesting.
okay being a little, it's okay it being a little difficult and clunky, and No, sometimes the pictures come out, it's just not the same as the next. Something went wrong in the process of it, of that panoramic swing, and
Yeah.
I love it. I really love it.
I feel like it's also the perfect behind the scenes camera in a lot of ways, or documentary camera. Like Jeff Bridges, obviously, who's launched the campaign to kind of bring
Yeah,
them back and stuff. His film set photography is amazing because he was
yeah,
just allowed. Obviously, he's a star, right? So he's allowed to be there, and so no
yeah,
one's telling him he can't make a picture in a way that even if you and I were there as a photographer, or I think of people like Greg Williams when he's done the behind the scenes on Bond,
yeah,
there will still have been times when someone's gone, don't take a photograph of that.
yeah,
Like we just, the car people or whatever. So I think for that, those images are so, part of the reason Jeff's images work so well is because they're so, he's got access and he's got time and he's got the trust of everyone around him. And that wide view of the world, there's nothing quite like it somehow because it's sort of weird and slightly trippy and distorted, isn't it?
yeah. It's amazing pictures. I always try, once in a while I go down eBay and I want to find that book, but people want insane money for it,
They
and I
do.
was like, okay,
Yeah, I'd,
yeah,
I'd love those books, but I do. I hope that one day I'll find one in a charity shop or something. Like there'll be a Goodwill
yeah.
somewhere, and I'll stumble across it.
It's the dream.
Yeah,
It's the dream. It's the same idea I've had of a Leica for the last 15 years, stumbling into some charity shop and find a Leica, and I'm like, this is crazy. Yeah. That's what I did with the Olympus Mew. I found that in a charity shop for two euros or something.
oh wow. Yeah, see that never
Yeah, but it
happens
was
for me.
7 years ago.
Cool camera as well.
Yeah,
Do like the Mew.
yeah.
So does that still go with you? Do you kind of because I mean you're limited in. I know you're driving, but you're not driving back. I guess like the cars arrive and then you're coming. So you
Yeah,
kind of need to still travel fairly light.
yeah, yeah. It comes with me. It's just always in my pocket.
Hmm.
I mean, also in Denmark, it's also the Olympus Mew is just always in my pocket.
Yeah.
It's so scratched up from keys and coins and stuff, but it still works and it goes strong.
Yeah, no, it's a great camera. I do some stuff with a local camera shop up here, and we got a couple of Olympus Mews in recently, secondhand, and it is such a great little camera. It's got a nice little shape to it. It's nice to hold,
Yeah,
which is part of the battle. Make sure you take
yeah,
it.
and it's a 35. It's just simple. It works. It's very easy to use and not much thinking. It's just click,
Yeah,
picture. Maybe it's good, maybe it's not. We'll see.
but like you were saying, compared to the Sony, it will probably even if it's kind of technically not very good, it will mean something to you because
Yeah.
you got it. Like last summer I was at an event and I got a photo of Jamie Cullum was on stage. It was at a Leica thing and it was a very small number of people and I was close to him and I got this photo of him taking a photo of me. And it's not quite in focus because it was dark and I was focusing a manual rangefinder in the dark and all that sort of stuff. But that photo still means something to me and I still think it's great. And a friend of mine managed to get a very blurry, low res version of his photo of me. So I have seen like the other side. His picture of me was sharper. He was doing a lot better than I
All
was.
right, all right.
But it's that
Good.
thing of the moment matters more than the kind of overall image quality, I guess.
Yeah.
Do you find that when you're selling the concept and you're trying to kind of encourage people to donate money and stay invested? Because more than 4 years in, as you alluded to earlier, people are starting to kind of forget that this is still the everyday for other people. So
Hmm.
are you on the hunt a little bit for the kind of the kinds of images and the stories that will kind of reignite people's interest and remind them? Do you have like when you go in like an idea in mind, or are you still very much like receiving what you find?
I want to, because the thing in Ukraine is that everything changes. Even though it's 4 years and they really held the front line really good, stuff just changes. The mindset of the soldiers and stuff like that. So I try every time I go to Ukraine to get a current picture. What is it like now,
Mm.
and get some good interviews with the soldiers, and I have a couple of questions I always ask them so I can go back and look. Okay, what's changed now, and what was it back then when we met a couple of months ago,
Mm.
and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, the long running relationships you're building, that must be the kind of the thread that runs through all of this.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And the more you help them, the more they want to help me because helping me will help them. So it's a good thing that the way I've struggled everything together now because going through press officers and stuff, it takes so long time.
Mm.
It takes forever to get permission to do anything. And sometimes it's when I'm there, it's just, oh, maybe this could be interesting. It's like, yeah, write to the press officer. It will take, 6 to 8 weeks and we'll see. Maybe they say go, maybe they say, absolutely not. So this way of doing it is really for me, it works good. Yeah.
I used to work with a guy, was a Swedish games dev person, but David was very good at not answering a question if I shouldn't have asked it. If I was asking permission, specifically permission or access type questions or whatever, he would sort of tactically, I think, not answer it. And then that way I could go, oh, okay, I should just do this and just get on with it. If he has to
Yeah,
ask,
exactly.
if it has to go up the chain, then it will die.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's the same if you're at a position in Ukraine and you ask for permission to take a picture of someone. I feel some more it's they say no than if I just do it and laugh and give them a little smile or something. It's better to there's the forgiveness than just hey, can I take your picture? And it's just like no, 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 no. So if
Yeah.
you just do it and like maybe give them a cigarette after or something, it's that's really a good way to do it for sure.
It is, I mean, it's a dangerous phrase, but fake it till you make it is a little bit of that. You need to go in with that energy, don't you?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, even though we're scared and you can constantly hear the shelling and stuff, you're just trying to, laugh it off and make a little fun thing. And I'm here, I'm this tall, I'm almost 2 meters and I can't really stand up in the trenches and stuff. So yeah, I'm a little quirky when I'm there, but it works good. It works for me.
Yeah, I guess I hadn't thought about your height, but I guess you can't hide very easily either. You're quite.
No, no, I can't really, and because of the skateboarding and stuff, my legs are really my knees and stuff. It's just not what they used to be. So running from things with the body armor on and all the cameras and stuff, it's really heavy work.
When you were talking before about skateboarding and things like that, Philip Reinhard was on. Well, I've recorded with him a couple of weeks ago. It'll be the episode, I think, 2 before yours. He also started by doing skate videos and things like that with his friends.
Yeah,
Now I'm assuming you've got a broader kind of photographic kind of language in your mind. Like who, presumably it was skate photographers and people, making skate movies like Spike Jonze and people like that were inspiring you early on. Who now is kind of when if you have photo books and you get those down, like whose work are you looking to kind of inspire yours?
I I mean my hero. I don't like to say that word, but the guy I think does the most amazing work in Ukraine is Eddie Van Vessel, the Dutch photographer. His pictures are insane, man. They're so good, and I've had the chance to meet him in Ukraine, and we actually spent Christmas Eve together, sitting down in a basement eating pizza while there was incoming shells and stuff. So yeah, but his work is absolutely amazing, and he's fearless, and yeah, really great work.
Yeah, these mad Dutchmen, you see, they run around. They're built slightly different, the Dutch.
For sure, yeah. But he's done it for many years, covering everything. So really, Ukraine is. But he also has tells me that Ukraine is different than other wars he's covered.
Oh, that's interesting. Is it the kind of the technical, because from your perspective, I guess like drones, things like these are whole new ways of conducting warfare, and
Yeah,
the psychological aspect more so or as much as what they are capable of. These drones, they make an awful noise all the time.
yeah, yeah. They really do. Yeah, it's awful.
So you're just sitting there, you can hear this thing happening, and you're just, I guess, you're on edge the entire time. You're just waiting.
Yeah, you're really just waiting and crushing your fingers. But it's a weird thing because if you go past you, but you still hear the explosion, or someone might just have lost their legs or lives or something. So it's a weird thing to be like, oh, thank God for me, but awful
Yeah.
for someone else, maybe.
From an infrastructure perspective, when you're out there and you're staying in certain places, like when I spoke to Mattia, he talked about how there's only certain times of day when they've got things like electricity and water and stuff like that. I got the impression that Ukraine was maintaining kind of more normal infrastructure, perhaps than somewhere like Gaza is able to. But
Yeah.
I'm guessing even on the front lines, it's probably fairly similar. It's probably things are hard to come by.
Yeah, actually, I was just 2 weeks ago, I was in Kramatorsk and I was expecting, no water, no electricity or anything, but it was all working. The apartment we rented was everything was working. Yeah. We
Wow.
could take a shower, we could do everything. And if you go to the real front line, they have generators and somehow, working water and still. So it's it's really amazing how the Ukrainians just keep this running. And
Yeah.
yeah, amazing guys.
Yes, incredible people. And when you come back, because you've been out there so many times now, how many trips have you done to Ukraine now?
I have no idea. I actually don't know because
Wow.
yeah, I don't know. Many trips.
But when you come back, how are you able to kind of, because you mentioned there before about you can hear the explosions, you can hear things happening, you're like, it didn't happen to you, it happened to someone else. How are you putting the weight of that trip down? Are you able to kind of like take the body armor off and put it down with that? And like, how are you kind of looking after you once you're back?
It's it's really difficult. I mean, when I'm in Denmark, I feel I have this constant dark cloud over my head the first couple of weeks when I arrive back from Ukraine, and I'm a little grumpy, and I think, people are just so blind for how good they have it, and all that stuff. But yeah, then if I go to a football match or whatever, and there's firework, I always my heart starts pumping, and now everybody in Denmark just graduated, became a student, and they go around in a truck on the roads, and they loud music and the horn on the truck and fireworks and stuff. So the last coming back from my last trip has been really stressful.
Mm.
And I don't think it's a good idea to live in the middle of Copenhagen when noise is a little
Yeah.
sensitive for you. But yeah, I try to, but it's difficult. It depends on what you experience
Mm.
in Ukraine, going back home, how long it will take for me to kind of adjust to being civilized again here.
Do you think that means that this sort of work will have a kind of time limit on it for you?
I hope not, because
Right.
I feel this really makes me human doing this stuff and meeting the guys there and meeting all those experiences in other lives and stuff. So I hope not. I hope I can, still deal with it
Mm.
the way I do, because I think it's working okay. I mean, a lot of guys who do what I do end up alcoholics or drug users and stuff, but luckily I'm good to like adjust that, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think everyone listening and myself, like, long may it continue, right? Like, I think your work is incredible and you're doing something important. And I think what you were saying before
Thank you.
about seeing people and sharing these stories will prepare you for whatever's next as well, because it comes down to what you do for a living and the people I talk to. The best work is human and connects with people and connects you with
Yeah.
people. So you're learning a superpower. If you can do it there, you can do it anywhere. Like, it's like 10 years from now, if you're
Yeah.
photographing Cannes, you should be fine.
Should be okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
But also depends on what work I do in Denmark. Like I just came back from Ukraine, and 2 days after I was shooting a wedding.
Right.
And it's really, really so I was really like, oh, this is a lot for me to process going to this. Everybody is happy, everything is good and beautiful, the sun is shining, and but I still need to do the work because I have bills to pay and
Mm.
stuff. So yeah.
But nice to kind of, I suppose, steep yourself in something that's so much the opposite. You know, it's almost like
Yeah,
taking a hot bath emotionally.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Do you have other projects in mind? Because I guess you've got a lot of there'll be a lot of sitting around when you're out far away. Like as much as there's a lot going on all of the time, I guess you also have a lot of time to sit around. Do you have ideas for projects and things come to you on the long drives and things like that? And do you know what you want to kind of do in future?
Yeah, I was actually not supposed to be in Ukraine for my last trip. I decided I wanted to go to Lebanon to cover the refugees coming from Israel and stuff. Um, but then from one day to the next, they kind of changed the rules of how
Right.
journalists are allowed to work there. So you're not allowed to be a freelance. You have
Right.
to get the letter from a big published newspaper and stuff. And I was not able to get that
Mm.
because nobody wants to send a freelancer there, and they think it's a there's a danger of it, of me have something happening to me, and it's their responsibility. And I tried to text them. I was like, I know the risk, and it's not your responsibility. But yeah, so but I still want to go. I want to go back to Senegal to do something there, and
Hmm.
I want to go to South Sudan to really do because I think South Sudan is the kind of the same place a little bit as Ukraine. I mean, it's insane what's going on, and it
Hmm.
just get no coverage. I mean, South Sudan is of course different than Ukraine because no one talks about what's happening, and it's absolutely awful.
Yeah.
But then also, as every photographer, I'm working on a book. We all say that, and I have an exhibition later in Copenhagen this year, and already started preparing for that. And yeah.
Well, that's cool. Tell us a bit more about the exhibition if you can.
Yeah, it's gonna be pictures from Ukraine.
Hmm.
It's gonna be like an awareness kind of thing. Um, but then I got the white looks and I fell absolutely in love with the white looks. So now I want to, you as an artist, you can always, you know, disagree with yourself and say, no, no, this is better than this idea, and this idea is better than this idea, but still blah blah blah. So I have all these amazing pictures from Ukraine, and but now I have this idea of maybe I should just, only do on the white looks because it's something different. It's something people don't really see.
Hmm.
But it's also, I need more pictures because so many of the pictures from the white looks end up useless because it's
Right.
so stupid to use almost. It's, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it's gonna be just, uh, some good pictures from Ukraine, some awareness, and it's gonna be a fundraising for
Yeah.
my organization and stuff. Yeah.
That's really cool. Have you ever worked with editors and kind of pulling together stuff like this before?
No,
No.
no. I always just do things on my own, and I think that's better actually
Hmm.
because that's how I work good. And I when I was in Donbass with CNN, the journalist Carla, she told me like, okay, I get what you, because I told her how I normally work and stuff. And now working with a journalist there, and I was the cameraman, and she was like, okay, I can see what you say, how you work better on your own. I
Yeah.
was like, okay, that's not nice of you to say because I think this is a good trip and we get some amazing things. It's just like, no, no, it's just you want to just wander out and do your own stuff, but we need to be here and interviewing this, and
Mm.
and it's just not how I work with with like the thing I did with CNN, because it's almost just like, kicking the door in, asking soldiers questions, and I want to be more embedded and take my time and not even take the camera up the first couple of days, but just chilling around, getting to know them, and they get comfortable with me. And then when a great picture is there, I'd be like, oh, actually, I have a camera. It's okay, I take a picture, or
Yeah.
stuff like that. So, and then it just becomes natural, and you can take whatever you want, but you still need to think about what you publish because it's a technological warfare. There's always screens everywhere with the drones and stuff. So you really need to not show IP addresses and locations and stuff like that. So it's really something you have to be, because you can easily like tell where this position is if you take a picture and the screen shows, oh, this is the IP address or the geolocation or something. You can be the reason for people getting killed if you're not careful.
Yeah, that's mad. I think it's also an interesting challenge you touch on there, where if you're a news reporter, you have 24-hour news stuff to fill. Like they
Yeah,
need to fill that time in a way that you don't. I think you can take the time to build the relationship that's necessary
exactly.
to then do better work. I think it's why your images probably feel more substantive and meaningful. And Mattia does the same thing. He spends a lot of time getting to know people first, because he's encountered, presumably you've encountered this too, where people are sort of, they're worried that you're just there to take some images and then disappear and they'll never see you again.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And that's also when if 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 you're in the big cities like Kharkiv and stuff, it's you meet some people who just wants to fight you because
Right.
you they say, oh, you're just photographer, just here to take pictures of us being in a bad place and stuff. I'm like, no, 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 that's absolutely not what I do. And yeah, like my last trip, I was sitting at a bar with my friend, and some guys came up and wanted to fight me just because I was a photographer. And I was like, but I'm way more than a photographer. I do all this volunteer work. I spend so much of my life just driving things to you guys. And so yeah, when I told them, when I told them that, it was like, okay, makes sense, because I so that was like, okay, it's good I'm just not a photographer,
Yeah.
even though sometimes it would be easier to just be the photographer. But yeah,
Brave of them to go up to a guy who's 2 meters tall in a bar.
luckily I was sitting down, and I think when I stood up, but they're soldiers, man. They're
Sure.
built different. They're
Yeah.
scalish.
Yeah, yeah. Just funny. A friend of mine started a new job this week, and I was just saying to him, "I was like, well, just go in there and find the biggest guy and hit him, like as a joke, like just get over
Yeah.
the, and then you'll be fine. Then you've established dominance in the workplace. I think that's how that works."
Yeah, it's the prison rules. It works for life too. But it's just not fun being the biggest guy.
Sure. Yeah. No, it does make you a target. It's a far cry from Tivoli Gardens and Legoland, and then suddenly you're.
For sure. Yeah.
We visited Denmark a lot as a kid. My dad's first wife was Danish, and so he always loved Denmark, and we went loads. I have 2 Legoland driving licenses from 2 summers.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm very proud.
Yeah.
It was amazing. It was a really cool place to visit. So yeah, I can't wait to get back. Actually, and I must congratulate your country men and women for making the best James Bond game, which makes me very
Yeah.
sad. But it's excellent. It turns out we needed Danish people to make the best James Bond game ever made.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's like the Hitman games is also Danish guys
Yes.
making that. And
Yeah, same studio.
yeah.
Yeah, same
Yeah.
people. They've done an absolute outstanding job. I used to work in games, so I like to chuck in the occasional video
Uh-huh.
game aside. But yeah, it's unreasonably good, that Bond game. They've done a very very good
Yeah.
job,
I haven't
and it has
played
a
it. I
like a queue in
played.
it.
Yeah. I heard that. Yeah. I'm not much of a gamer. I only have one game I played since it came out, and I still go back to it, and that's it. It's the only game I play.
What's the game?
It's Fallout New Vegas.
Oh, now I
I
used to.
have so many hours in that game, and I have it both on PlayStation 3, on Xbox 360. I have it on computer. I have it on everything, man. It's the most amazing game, and I think that's how, kind of made me in life. Is just that being that lone wanderer, just doing stuff. It's really
Yeah,
amazing game.
there you go. You played that, and you just took that as like this is a rule. This is a manual.
Yeah, this is my life now. I'm this person. I'm this courier in this game.
Yeah.
I'm this in life.
Oh, nice. I used to work on Fallout 76, and I know a bunch
Yeah,
of people working on that game. Yeah, yeah. So it was cool, and it's exactly that, isn't it? It's the sort of fantasy of living in a world and making your own thing and being able to explore and being able to like make your own way and build your character the
yeah.
way you want to be. Yeah, that fantasy. Oh, it's really interesting.
Exactly, and it's the same if you do what I do. Going to Ukraine, you need to find your own way of making things possible, because you cannot just, there's no easy way. It's always some side quest you have to do, and then this side quest knows this guy that can help you, and this guy knows this and this and this, and then all of a sudden you're at position.
When you're picking up the camera then and you're doing your things like weddings and stuff like that, how do you compartmentalize the work and position the work? Because presumably someone hiring you for a wedding is not looking at your work and going, I'd love for you to shoot this. Like, it's a very different
No.
shooting style. Do you have like separate portfolios, separate ways of presenting the work?
No, actually, when I do weddings, I mostly just say, um, and I talked to a guy the other day, and he was like, "Oh, weddings are so difficult to do and stuff." And I was like, "I agree, but I feel like taking pictures on a front line in a country, it's probably one of the most difficult things you can do, and get out of
Hmm.
there with great pictures." So now I only have my website, and I sent them to the couple that was getting married, and it was like, "Yeah, okay, but are you sure you can do this?" I'm like, "Yeah, I know for sure." And there's
Yeah,
like, "Oh, okay, but we don't want black and white." I was like, "Okay, I can do colors and stuff." But then I ended up, taking the pictures, editing them, and they was like, "Oh my God, the black and white pictures are amazing." I was like,
yeah,
"Yeah, because that's what I do. I do
yeah.
black and white pictures, so of course they're great." Not to talk myself up so much,
No.
but it's just I really thought about how there's like, "Oh, we don't really want black and white." I was like, "Okay, fine." And then I ended up doing a couple of black and whites, like, "Oh, we love it." Like, yeah,
Yeah.
because that's what I do. That's what I'm good at.
Well, you are, but I will say your some of your work you photographed like a motorcycle music festival,
Yeah,
which is on the website as well. I love motorbikes and riding bikes and the flat tracking and stuff like that. Those photos are great, especially the way you captured some of the personalities on the bikes, like the guy with the yellow gloves and the crazy '60s bike helmet with like the bubble
yeah, yeah.
visor and stuff. Really, really fun. Talk a bit about shooting an event like that. Are you there in like a professional capacity, or are you capturing that event because you like it and it's got interesting visual things in it?
I was there. I'm always kind of a I want to help as good as I can everywhere. And it was my friend who had a clothing shop in Odense in Denmark, and he had this event, and his shop wasn't doing too good, and he was like, "Oh, maybe you can come and we can take these pictures." And I was like, "Yeah, for sure." And he said, "Oh, I don't really have the money to give you anything." I was like, "Okay, give me free beer and a ticket, and I will come the 3 days and just cover the festival." And he was like, "Yeah, okay, great. That's how we do it." Yeah, and but then there was a was a motorcycle magazine called MCTC who ended up using my pictures, and I ended up making a drone video for them, and it was
Yeah.
so yeah, and that like rocketed into something more, and yeah, so it's sometimes just doing something for the good of it will end up paying off somehow anyway.
Yes, I think you're completely right. It's very much how I approach life as well. Is
Yeah,
that like you make something and then that will naturally lead on to the next thing. Having too much of a plan is potentially dangerous because then you're
yeah,
anticipating, and then, as you know, things don't go exactly, even when you're planning something and you're in quote unquote control of things, they don't go the way
yeah.
you expect. So having too much of a plan is a bad idea because then it will go off
It's
the rails immediately.
Yeah, it's awful. It's being, plan your life, it will end up shit. I think it's just not. It's better to just, take a step and see what's gonna happen, man. And that's
Yeah.
really how I do stuff, and it works out sometimes. Sometimes it puts me in a shitty situation, but for the most part, I've survived, and I have a good place to stay and everything, so it works out eventually.
I think it's the difference between having a plan and being prepared. And those are slightly
Yeah,
different things. Like you're ready for
yeah,
what's there, but you don't have to have a prescriptive step by step. Yeah.
yeah. And that's really my thing in Ukraine. So you never know what's gonna happen, man. It's the last trip I visited Kramatorsk and Sloviansk, and then when we came back to Kharkiv, I was sitting at a restaurant eating a burger, and then all of a sudden there was Shahed just hitting right on the other side of the road. So of course I ran over there and started taking pictures and stuff. But then the Russians, they did a double tap, so it's like, okay, I did not expect this to happen, but then they do it again. And it's like, okay, I did not expect this to happen in this unexpected situation. So
Yeah.
you never really know what's going to happen at all. And you cannot plan everything, but you can be prepared for it. and that's really my approach to doing the stuff I do, and it works out.
Yeah. Well, good. I'm very glad to hear it. And I do increasingly feel like playing Fallout was your training, was your preparation
Oh
for
yeah,
doing.
yeah. You never know. You never know. Some strange encounter can end up being a good thing, but it can also be really, really bad.
I will also say your thing about New Vegas being like the Fallout is the thing that Bethesda both love and hate. They are sick
Yeah,
of hearing about that game.
yeah. Now we're all just waiting for a remastered version. For maybe it'll come up someday.
Yeah, well, I worked with the guys at Obsidian as well, and they were very proud of that game. That like the Fallout that everyone talks about is the one they
Yeah,
made. Like it wasn't made by
but it's
Bethesda.
also I saw a documentary about it, and they had the time span they have to make that game was absolutely insane, and
Yeah. Oh, the
1 year
guys
or
at
something.
Obsidian. Yeah, the guys at Obsidian are proper gangsters. They are like they're brilliant. They're absolutely brilliant. They know exactly what they're doing, and they have this really interesting idea, which I think listeners will find it's indulgence on my part, but they have this idea that they want their studio to last 100 years, and I think the
Uh-huh.
idea it speaks to a little bit what you were talking about responsibility and about what you're here to do and what you're trying to achieve. They feel a responsibility to what they're making, that they should build something that's sustainable. And what does
Hmm.
sustainability look like? Sustainability looks like a studio that could last 100 years. And I think that's quite rare in their industry to try and make something with that kind of impact. But
Yeah.
what you're doing every day and the work you're doing to support people's lives, to get cars to people who need transportation, need working vehicles and things, that will have potentially like a 100-year knock on. Like what you do now impacts people, which then impacts their children, which impacts, potentially onto their grandkids. So I
Yeah.
think that's it's worth us all thinking about the small things that we all do every day, whether it's making work for people, those photos of that couple for that wedding, those are their wedding photos for life now.
Yeah. Which is actually more scary than sometimes going to the front line because, like, okay, you have one shot at this, and they have
Mm.
to turn out perfect. A not perfect picture on the front line, it's also a story, but a not perfect picture at a wedding is just a bad picture.
Yeah. Yeah, we skimped on our wedding photos and we still talk about it to this day. We
Uh,
just we just didn't make a big deal of it. And so we got the photos we got and it's fine, but we didn't do enough and we didn't and on the day in the moment you're not thinking about it. And so yeah, so it's
no,
you're right. We weren't prepared. I think fundamentally.
no, but it's also weird, I have all these beautiful pictures from a wedding, but they don't really fit in on my website. So it's like,
Mm.
what can I personally gain from this? It's nothing more than a little bit of experience and a little bit of money, because it just it just doesn't work putting that stuff on your website too
Mm.
when you have all this, pictures from Ukraine and all that stuff. So yeah, so it's not really something. Maybe I should make a second website with just stuff like that, just
You
wedding
wouldn't be the
pictures
first.
and
Yeah, you wouldn't be the first. I mean, it did. That was kind of why I was asking, right? It was like, how do you compartment? Like, do you have different brands? Like, you could be N Pettersson does the wedding stuff, and then like you could
yeah,
have a different whole. Like authors who have different. They have a secret pen name for certain things.
yeah. Maybe I should look into that a little bit and doing that. Might be a good idea. Yeah.
And then your TikTok persona of Nikki P or something. Which
Oh
is,
yeah. Yeah, but my social media game is awful. I only have Instagram and a LinkedIn. I don't have Facebook. I don't Snapchat. I have nothing because it's just stressing me out.
yeah, I mean, as someone who now uses that stuff as part of their work, right?
Hmm.
Like, I'll have to tell you, like, it's not satisfying. I'm just doing it because it's kind of the best way to be seen and be found, you know?
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, it's not the best. I don't know. It doesn't feel substantive. It just feels like I'm just sort of pasting adverts on the wall of a tube station. That's all I'm
yeah,
doing.
exactly. Yeah, and especially the pictures I take in Ukraine. I mean, they lack so much feeling, and and stuff. When I just posted on Instagram, it's like, oh, now the picture is this small, and there's,
Yeah.
there's not really much detail, even though I have shot on this expensive, beautiful camera. And so it's like, yeah, it's Instagram is, but I also want to show my work, of course, if I've done something beautiful. So it's a weird place to want to do both, but just not being, if there was a social media where you could upload your PNGs and stuff, it would be amazing.
Yeah, well, I mean, I will say, former guests of the show, Alan Schaller and his friend Tim and a few other people, they've launched a thing called Iris, which is kind of that. It's sort of Flickr for now, I guess. And it's
Hmm.
higher resolution files and stuff like that. So I would say to anyone listening, if you want a photo community of photographers, Iris Photo is a good place to go. There's also Photo with an F. I've had Michael on the show in the past as well. So there are people trying to do this, and those communities are kind of smaller by design, and the quality, they're photographic communities first. It's not just posting pictures on Blue Sky or Threads where like you get your picture,
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah, worth
Okay,
a look.
amazing. Yeah, I need to check
Yeah,
that out.
yeah, yeah. Now
That's a
have a
good
look.
idea.
Cool. Well, on the subject of shameless promotion, which is a nice note to end on, Nicklas, where can people find more of you online if they don't know your work already?
Yeah, as we just talked about, my Instagram, uh, and I don't know, do we put a link or something for the
I'll put you
Instagram
in the
or
show notes for sure. Yeah, if
yeah.
Instagram's the best place.
But then
Yeah.
also my website. Now I've done my website on my own. It was actually just I didn't have one like
Mm,
a year ago or something. I was like, okay, I want to make this. But then I made it, on my own. I just used, I don't remember what it's called, Squarespace or something,
mm,
which works actually pretty good. It's really easy for something who doesn't know how to, program a website or anything. But I was like, okay, now I have this, but how are people gonna see this?
mm.
So it's actually
Yeah.
more just now ended up being a kind of a personal blog where I post my pictures and stuff. And sometimes, if I send to an editor or something, I will send my website. But I kind of just done it how I do it and wanted to look. But I know there's so many pictures from Ukraine. You can just keep scrolling, keep scrolling
Yeah.
it. So I need to do something better, and I haven't updated in a while. So I also want to update with new picture stuff. But man, it's just everything takes time. So yeah, Instagram and my website, that would probably be, and then on my YouTube I have the documentary about Sidi Baji, the mayor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Really good, which is worth a watch. People should go and see that. I think a follow up with him would be good at some point.
yeah, I really want to do that. Yeah, yeah, it would be amazing to do that. I need to do that. But I want to do that since I came home from that trip. I was like, damn, I want to go back. It's the same feeling when you go to a place where people are just nice. It's like Ukraine. The
Mm,
Ukrainian people are absolutely amazing, and they really like us Danes and Europeans for the most part, and
mhm.
we sit there and chat for a long time, and we eat the borscht, the local soup, and yeah, I really love Ukraine. Every time I come home, I miss it by my heart, man. I miss my new friends, old friends, all that stuff. And
Yeah.
yeah, and I will keep going back to show how it is, and hopefully the war will end at some point. But there's a long way to getting that country back to normal, man. It's
Yeah.
yeah, it's really awful.
Yeah. The day the thing ends is not the end. It's then all the rebuilding and all that stuff happens.
Yeah, and who knows what their neighbor country will do again at some point, maybe.
Yeah.
It's that constant fear of being Ukraine and everybody in Ukraine. It's yeah, awful.
Best wishes to you, sir, for doing the amazing work, and thank you for coming on and talking about stuff. And if you're up for it, let's chat again around about the time of the exhibition, because then we can. I
Yeah.
do Wednesday episodes when people have books coming out or exhibitions and things like that. So
Ah,
this is the
yeah.
main Sunday episode. Wednesdays I kind of do something a bit more commercial often, so it's not every week. But when someone has a book or a thing to talk about, I get them back on and we do a shorter kind of yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I'd love to send people your way. Cool. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Nicklas. I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
A very big thank you to Nicklas for being on the show there. What a joy it is to chat to photographers every week. It's brilliant, isn't it? I hope you liked it, and if you're new, don't forget that you can like and subscribe to the show wherever you like to get your podcasts. That's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Music, Amazon Music, all those lovely places. Please do feel inclined to leave a review, leave some stars, and get in touch. My DMs are open, and it's lovely to hear from listeners. I say it every week, but it's the best bit, is getting to speak to people and then hearing from listeners afterwards and seeing if you enjoyed it. Also, on the day that this episode is going out, we are starting a week of photo walks. So if you subscribe to the podcast feed for this upcoming week, you'll get an episode every day, just as a little prompt to encourage you to go outside with your camera and make some pictures. I hope we have a lot of fun. There'll be a chat on the Patreon. It's free to take part. Just go to Patreon, sign up, and you'll be away. I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be loads and loads of fun. Right, well, I think that will do. Have a wonderful week. Hopefully get out and take some pictures. And I'll see you here next time. Bye for now.